Okay, so everyone, thanks for coming to John and Carol Larson's 60th wedding anniversary. 60 years. 60 years of matrimony. I mean, this isn't something you get once in a lifetime. This is something you get once in 20 lifetimes, once in 30 lifetimes. Can you believe that? 60 years. Quite the accomplishment. Let me tell you a little bit about my grandparents, John and Carol Larson. John Larson, he served in the Navy, and he went to University of Michigan and is now a teacher. He has his master's in education. When he was 29, he met a 18-year-old, Carol Larson. They got married when she was 19. A year later, so that was 1954, a year later, 1955, they had a little girl. And this little girl, she climbed on the roof, she caught her pajamas on fire, she ran down the street naked, and they swore they'd never have another kid again. Well, that little girl was my mother. And if you do the math here, you realize my mother is 35, so, don't tell her I told you. So after they swore they'd never have another kid, John and Carol Larson had 11 more kids. They've had 12 kids total. Can you believe that? And my mother is the oldest. I have an uncle who's only 3 years younger than me. Can you believe that? We've double dated, me and my uncle. We've double dated. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit more about them. My grandfather is the stalwart. He's the man, He provides for his family, and there may not have been a lot at Christmas, but they all got a gift. And my grandmother is the mother hen. She just takes care of everyone, and she just loves everyone. She's been there for me when my toughest times. I can't tell you how many grandchildren she has, but she shows up when I've had hard times. Anyways, they just mean a lot to me. But I have a story to tell. It's a story inside of a story, okay? And believe me, bear with me, it's worth it. But this really just totally captures John and Carol Larson. We used to watch this video when we have these get-togethers. It was called Johnny Lingo, okay? This video called Johnny Lingo. And it's a really good parable moral story that we would love to watch, this 20-minute video. It's a story about a Polynesian island where they paid for a marriage dowry in cows, okay? So the top-notch brides would get like 3 cows or 4 cows, sometimes even 5 cows. Well, there was this girl. She was skinny, she was a wave, shy, very, very put upon, and no one thought she'd ever get married. Her father thought she would never, ever get married. And if he did get married, he'd get 1 cow for her, maybe, I don't know, the leather. So anyway, Johnny Lingo, the most eligible bachelor on the whole island, comes back from his fortune. He shows up in a boat, and he wants a bride. The whole town finds out that he's going to ask this shy girl, her name was Mahana, he was going to ask her to be his bride. And they all decided, Johnny Lingo, that's one shrewd businessman. He's going to ask 1 cow because he knows he can get a bride for cheap. So he goes and he goes to Mahana's father and says, I would like to ask for Mahana's hand in marriage. And he says, sure, for my daughter, I'd like 2 cows. And the whole island laughed. It was a ridiculous, ridiculous offer. And Mahana was not worth 2 cows. So, Johnny Lingo, he says, that's really high, that's really expensive, but I'm going to pay 8 cows. I'm going to pay 8 cows for Mahana. And no one could believe it. They could not believe that he was going to pay that much for this.
Excuse us.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. So the whole island could not believe it. They thought this was ego. This was all ego-driven. Johnny Lingo thought he was hotshot. They come back from their honeymoon, and Mahana is beautiful. And she is full of life and has the biggest smile on her face, and they realized that because he loved her. He loved her as children. He did it because he wanted her to feel valuable. So what a great story, right? So on Thanksgiving, our whole family got together and we watched this video, and we learned the lessons, and my grandfather, the stalwart, the man, he looks over at my grandmother. She's cleaning up the Thanksgiving dinner because that's what she did. She always took care of everyone so we could all have a wonderful time, and he goes, I got an 8-cow wife. I got a 12-cow wife. My wife is worth 12 cows. She laughed. We all laughed because, she had 12 kids. And then he goes, wait for it. I was 13 at the time, and you know how teenagers' brains work. He goes, and I'm a one-bull man. And we all died. We all just died of laughter. We couldn't believe it. My grandfather just called himself a one-bull man. And we just grandmother, the stalwart, and that's my grandmother, the mother hen. She's got the 12 kids. And anyways, I'm just really happy that I had this opportunity to talk a little bit about how great they are, and 60 years, 60 years. I just would like someone like that for me. I am their oldest grandchild. Well, I have a twin sister, so we share the honor, but I am their oldest grandchild, and they've been there for me through thick and thin, and I'm really glad I've had this opportunity to say thank you, and to say I love you, and thank you for the values you've instilled of family, of virtue, of hard work, and of love. So, Grandma, Grandpa, thank you, and I love you.